And these principles have been reiterated in many conferences, protocols, conventions. The Kyoto Protocol itself has a provision about the participatory democracy. Article 6 says that parties shall promote public participation in addressing climate change and its effects and developing adequate responses. So at the theoretical level, there are no problems. The principal elements are shared by states, by the international community. The problem is how to implement this principle, which are the best instrument to promote public engagement, public participation, participatory democracies. It's a matter of urban governance in case of Kyoto, of the citizens, I said, which could be interesting new one. There are good examples already existing. Yesterday we have heard the presentation of Alessandro Mengozzi, University of Bologna, that gave us some examples. Some others are in the paper made by Silvia, which is in the documentation of the conference. There are some good experiences with a local Agenda 21, which are forums which involve citizens in the shaping of sustainable development local plans. And this instrument can present some difficulties in the big cities, where the citizens are many. So we have some experiences that could present the basis of our discussion. Which are the main requirements, basic requirements for participatory democracy? First of all, education. So I think Professor Ricciferri will give us interesting hints about education, because active citizens are most of all educated citizens, and education shall be interpreted in a broader way. Education is not only school education for children, but it's also adult education and awareness-based information. It's also professional education, university education, education addressed to political actors, local administrators, business, trainers, and so on. The second basic requirement is what I say, partnership and alliance. It means that three elements of the cities: citizens, institution, and the productive work should be joined in an alliance. There must be trust between each other. And concerning governance, there must be mechanisms that are able to solve any conflict between these three elements, and also between the single elements of one of the sector. And finally, it's important to have participatory democracy. What is important is to have a vision of common responsibility, of common values to build. And recently we saw a movie with the director Francesco. The names of the movie is Into the Wild, and the final sentence is, "Happiness is real only if shared." So I think this is well, in the movie it has another meaning, but I think it really gives
be seen as extremely bureaucratic and extremely slow to react to such cross-cutting problems. The second is that there is a lack of political will from individuals. Often there's a mentality of, I'll do my bit, but how do I know that everyone else is doing their bit? So I might recycle, but why would I trust everyone else to? Thirdly, there's a lack of education, as Federica mentioned, on how to reduce one's carbon footprint, what exactly the Kyoto protocols are, etc. And lastly, humans are usually quite bad at acting in their long-term interests. And there is a lot of social, psychological literature implying that humans are hardwired to sort of think in the very short term. So, considering these four problems, these four sort of overarching problems, I have in my paper put forth four solutions, if you will, on how to tackle climate change at the sort of very local, small-scale level. The first one is educational reform. The second is what I call the Obama ripple effect and sort of raising collective aspirations. The third is a more sort of coercive legal mechanism. And the fourth draws on a recent book that some of you may be aware of called Nudge by behavioral economists Thaler and Cass Sunstein. So starting with educational reforms, I think it's absolutely crucial in this day and age that citizens, to act as properly engaged citizens, have to possess the necessary information to make informed choices. So environmental literacy ought to feature in every sort of curriculum worldwide. Resource scarcity, the effects of pollution, the benefits of recycling are things that every citizen should be fluent in, especially in 2009. Not least because people frequently underestimate their adverse impact on the environment. So we might not be aware of how much harm we're causing. The information provided in schools should not only be geared towards information about these issues, but also on how to mitigate them. So it shouldn't only focus on the risks, but also on how they can be sort of mitigated. And again, in the sort of education system, our schools need to be equipped to not solely to educate people, but also they have to have a broader remit in meeting the welfare, health, and well-being of students. And this increasing role must focus on civic engagement, so how to take part in volunteering schemes, community enjoyment, participation, and basically how to fit into the wider community. The second sort of thing I mentioned is this Obama effect and raising collective aspirations. And a recent research piece I just completed shows that the majority of UK people still dream about a better world. When asked sort of what are your three main wishes, one of them always tended to be a better world, so mitigating climate change and end to war. So there seems to be a very collective element to what people dream about. And I think the sort of Obama effect, the yes we can approach, has to play a role in this debate today. Because what might seem like an unrealistic dream, actually, with the effort of many pulled together, can become reality. And so it has to be acknowledged that we're not in a world